Power of the gate. Okay. Some clarification. Hierophant. Someone wants to make the effect. A hierophant here. That's kind of what I'm getting. A confirmation. Oh, okay. Let's keep going. So those two are going to kind of set the tone frame. The readings are just flipped over to everybody. The Queen of Swords. So, hmm. Is you like maybe you were setting some emotional boundaries with people or cutting off people, and they were upset about that? I think some communication or maybe something right away in order to start that. Yeah. So put you in a situation, potentially the dependency or maybe they speculate on getting them first, maybe making a choice for that relationship. But you've got clarity, intuition, and you can see. I was really trying to figure it out. I think it didn't. Just maybe I didn't have the chariot. She broke out of there. And she was thinking, oh, even though there was some hope or there's a lot there. Next row here, put them in the five of cups. So this how we're actually put them in the five of cups. So we're what maybe meant for you. Then I get the sense that like maybe there was either like a belief system difference or a religious system difference, or maybe this they were getting kind of new or something. We maybe had a connection to source that on one end, rather than do that. They're in grief though. That's how we're put somebody in grief. Maybe you're spot. Oh, but you're in the Ten of Cups. That's below you. So maybe it's one to depend on them rather than actually finding your Ten of Cups. Where they wanted your Ten of Cups with that kind of thing. But it's also giving like, the chosen family here. Those who are but only have a relationship with you by which they really give themselves up. Nothing needs to feel the way that the relationship because in their mind, and you're going to be you know how the negative that affects you spiritually mentally. And so you are good in relationship with those who are in their responsibility and healthy. Yeah. Balance. I know they would just say, can you just come take a joke? And the ace of swords here, below the queen of swords here. So again, they've had clear understanding of those 40 don't doubt your intuition or your previous intuitions of your decisions. You're, you're right. And maybe that wasn't the attack. Sometimes that's the attack of the minimum thought in the fog, and especially if the thought becomes contributing to like some sort of altered states and that cloudiness can lead to vulnerabilities in terms of virtual attacks of dynamic perceptions and realities and I think with their child understanding the rules that were previously in the book. The nine of cups here. So yeah. We got tennis or ace of swords, nine of cups, great, right? Because things feel good. After you can withdraw process and you're great there. Right? You're having a place where you feel settled, you feel settled. You're getting at a place where you feel settled with your choices that lovers. Yeah. So it was some addictions that you had to leave behind. Earlier, I did say that about like a state that was causing you to doubt your previous intuitions. That was some previous addictions that five kind of put you into. It's like you cut people off, and the sadness of that, you know, that's right. you're like reparenting for your child to like learn that loss, but also transition to understanding that it's not a vindictiveness or bitterness that you're doing this. It's for emotion. People aren't, some people would rather hurt the healed people than heal themselves because everything's a competition and I mean, getting healed. All that does is shine a big old spotlight and they're up for something like that. So since they don't have the power to be able to themselves, they do have the power to do their own thing. Just like, you know, and know where you're going. I said, thing where I can't say what people they get from them. So it seems to them create situations where trigger the defensive. This is like, and thought made us like something we get to where I mean, you got questioning whether they do that too. Like, and there can be spiritual reasons why they do these things, but in natural, straight up natural reasons, just like the say, your lighter tastes like demons, you're healing your brain so like not being a narcissistic person. You cannot do a shame. All of their facade, all of their grandiosity, and all of their undermining of you is driven in a big way, psychology would say, by the fact that they can handle shame, feeling less than, can handle not being star of the show, seem to be, or living in a world where we're all working against that doesn't do. And so, especially the lightning relationship that need to be, yeah, and of course, if they're into it's so let's wrap it up here with a conclusion energy. I'd love to be able to get more specifics here if that's possible. I understand that the Hierophant here too is sort of giving that, you know, some would say that, you know, the chosen one versus the oppressor dynamic or oppressor's dynamic, or the those that would siphon energy from someone who has connection to source or something. Here the five is here. That's the thing. That's the interesting. So someone must feeling wrong and attention is so brief lingering. And I think it's not fair. So like what do you do? And like one of that like their energy works, but it's like where do we go from here? And everybody, actually, it's probably everybody. Like everybody just feels wrong. And they maybe have some energy so into sort of restoration. There's not going to be honesty for them that not dictated. Right. How you trust them. Truly. So we have to set up penitence. So it's exhaustion of just like again, it's a thing of seeds being planted. But is there in their whatever they've done? I don't know if that's could be spell work, but they're waiting to see if there's fruit. Maybe something did that just waiting, or it could just be that they've invested so much in the relationship with the fruit things where it's a deep friendship relationship or family, then it's easy for people to feel like the idea. And if they're sick, they're incapable of themselves functioning. So I think they may attribute it to you mentally. But for there's a new beginning here. It's really interesting. All the conflict are actually turning into, you know, if that's if you just you're praying for him and that's leading to a new start. But you're walking back to the site. We have the six of yours going to become the God. So I don't, maybe you've been sewing, oh, if you look at it this way, you're sewing into this new journey and you're leaving behind all people are sewing back. Or it could be, I am telling you this is you because, yeah, okay, I'm going to use the picture. Sewing into this new journey. So I'm just like, I'm not seeing it. They're going to find the right person. So Ace of Wands is supposed to be here. So someone here just feels the urge to act on some energy here. And a massive promise and stab some some starting to do some new here at the end of sword. So you can't talk about what you know and all the intuition and the understanding. And a lot of times these people, they are spiritual a little bit. They tell you what they're thinking as a psychological reading because it's like that reduces our karma and it's also like and it's actually the most damaging. But it's always giving you like the justification proving it. And then of course I say it like a gaslight and saying trying to crazy. I guess it used to be like more of a secret, but like it's like it's this thing that calls people out our personality types and we're finding out more. They'll just clear keep picking you or and say that you're off, you use out of something, use that chair, you want to make it wrong and to disqualify the written voice that you have when you provide. So starting to kind of that's why it's so important to know that from simple. I can listen to the dog. I can do. Okay, so again, it is so sort of days stuff like you have the direction and the intention and you're waiting for it. But well, you can't talk about it. That can create this so I mean that's why your own ratings like this are true. They can clarity spirit too. And so yeah, get these things out of your bank. You can still help them out of your bank and deal with the situation, but carry that trauma. Because again, it's looking some of the stuff you don't want to know. Thanks. And again, you know, DBT would say, you know, it's none of my business and some child is son. It's that far line trauma betrayal. Going to get fun. But again, it's the reason here. Some of this stuff, when you know it intuitively, this is the burden in terms of the betrayed high priestess. It's like you've got this ace of melon, you got this essential power, and that's what they were trying to do. Keep you so traumatized that you can act. Sadly, you have demonic since nothing can be done. But and again, you have been insect, you're going to try to betray, right? And don't project that into future relationships. That's really important. Regulate the doings of things. No one believe it, but trying to listen to it. So they're going to be healthy, just be able to show up and express philosophy and quote things that quote things right. And you have to shoot to narcissism, selflessness, or something. That's what some of the say too. That's the way selfing. So, but so okay, the final part here opens the verses. Get the mental as an sometimes. What degrees and so you get through the gaslighting back to the we have the page that comes things. And this could be spiritual messages coming to you, vision or anything. You probably party names and everybody's like, this is perfect. That's the emotional dollars that you can listen to. Trust is like, I mean, they talk about races is the perfect way to found out. No, that's scary of those things. But it's going to be perfect for folks. But it's like, trust spirit and information and downloads and this energy about your relationships. We're moving forward, testing the frameworks hopefully, and what kind of understanding and betrayals, it can be dreams into downloads. You're just beginning to touch lowering the exchange that bring you to. That's what I'm telling you. And again, we're talking about knowing, and here's the battle, right? Knowing when it's suspicion or discernment, right? Knowing when it's projection, past wounds being projected onto new people that well, they didn't exist before, versus actual understanding and truth that is supernaturally ascertained, right? And part of that is just having a history in yourself and understanding and an experience and knowing the still quiet voice, of spirit and your intuition, or developing your spiritual practice and knowing when, okay, why does this feel familiar? Is this because I'm seeing shadows of past experience and my brain, my hypervigilance is telling me it's happening again. And you're taking things out of context, you're reading into facial expressions. We don't know what we don't know. So that's can be the overthinking and the overanalyzing of like present relationships, right? So you want to watch out for that. A lot of times it's not if it puts you into fear and triggering versus trust, too, that can be also a telltale sign that is, not coming from spirit here too a little bit. But trusting when the people who make you feel comfortable and recognizing love bombing versus when that's just like someone with an ADHD passion versus someone who is narcissistically trying to do that. Although with ADHD it can also be a bit painful if they are dopamine driven and the connection's exciting when it's new and fresh. And then when that burns out, then they have a history of moving on or losing disinterest, and that can turn into what feels like narcissistic devaluing. So hopefully this was helpful and it brought some clarity to past situations and how to move forward. If this resonated, please do leave a comment, like, and if you haven't already, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.